Welcome back to a new episode of Lives on Wheels. Before diving into today's protagonist, we invite you to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. For you, it's a small gesture, but for us, it's crucial to continue sharing stories of remarkable individuals who have left their mark on collective memory. Today, we're talking about a truly unique figure in the history of global motorcycling. Today, we're talking about Fabio Taglioni, the Ducati legend. Ducati stands in the motorcycling firmament like a technical symphony without equal, a showcase of inventions that defies all categorization. Engines with eclectic temperaments, varying in displacement, piston number and configuration, paired with bold mechanical solutions, valves driven by the genius of the Desmo system, frames that speak the language of an almost futuristic vision. Amid such diversity, the golden thread tying it all together is Fabio Taglioni, the mastermind and architect of a motorcycling universe marked unmistakably by his genius. Taglioni, the Desmo Ducati, a triad that pulses like the heart of a perfectly synchronized engine. These three names weave the fabric of an unrepeatable epic, where the creativity of a visionary designer fused ideas and metal into immortal creations. Other engineers have devoted their lives and talent to a single brand, but none have managed to leave a mark so absolute and universal. Taglioni's work, seemingly inspired by a modern Prometheus, remains an unparalleled pinnacle in the landscape of Italian motorcycling. Fabio Taglioni was born on September 10, 1920, in Santa Maria in Fabriago, a hamlet of Lugo, in the fertile land of Romagna. His was a modest yet dignified family. His father, Biagio, managed a well-established workshop where young Fabio took his first steps into the world of mechanics. After attending primary school in San Lorenzo, Fabio moved on to the Salesian Institute in Faenza. Here his talent emerged, attentive, diligent, but also captivated by the allure of engines and speed. This was no coincidence. Romagna is a land of sports and motors, and Lugo proudly remembers the hero Francesco Baracca, a legendary aviator and skilled motorcyclist. There was even a distant familial connection between the Baracca and Taglioni families, and this bond further fueled Fabio's dream of flying, whether on the wings of the wind or the wheels of a motorcycle. He learned to ride on his father's AJS 350 and continued his studies at the Ferraresi Tampieri boarding school in Imola. There he completed his scientific high school diploma before enrolling in the Faculty of Engineering in Bologna. Fate, however, has other plans. War interrupts his studies. In March 1941, Fabio is called to attend the officer cadet training course in Bologna. After earning the rank of second lieutenant, he is assigned to the 32nd Tank Regiment and later to the 10th Transport Regiment, 42nd Motorized Unit. Between missions, Fabio finds time during a leave to solidify his love. On April 6, 1941, he marries Norina Raspadori, whom he had met during middle school. But the war takes him far away. Posted to Sicily, he is entrusted with overseeing the workshop of the 28th Motor Transport Unit in Salemi. Here, on July 9, 1943, a bombing in Palermo leaves him gravely injured. Hospitalized in Bari, then in Voghera and Bologna, he is discharged on October 15th, but the consequences of his injuries will follow him for the rest of his life. Declared unfit for military service, Taglioni avoids conscription by the Italian Social Republic and returns to civilian life. Between 1944 and 1945, he teaches technology and technical drawing at the vocational secondary school in Imola. However, the call of engineering is too strong. In 1947, he graduates from the University of Bologna, presenting a thesis on a 250cc supercharged V4 engine. Benelli expresses interest in his project but imposes a condition: relocation to Pesaro. Taglioni declines. Meanwhile, he resumes teaching, maintaining a strong connection to his homeland. In 1949, his family grows. On March 1st, his daughter Pierina is born. From 1949 to 1952, Fabio Taglioni serves as a substitute teacher at the Francesco Alberghetti State Technical Industrial School, teaching mechanics, applied mechanics, technical drawing, electrotechnics, technology, and technological laboratory. His passion is so intense that he inspires his students to collaborate on extraordinary projects. Together, they build two 75cc engines. One, named Mistero, features pushrod valve actuation, while the other, the Tornado, has a single overhead cam head with bevel gears and a custom-designed frame for exceptional performance. There is even talk of a dual overhead cam version. These experiences lead to an almost continuous working relationship with Ducati, which acquires the rights to the 75cc engine for a lightweight racing motorcycle destined for great success. Simultaneously, FB Mondial notices Taglioni's talent. Leaving the school, the engineer splits his time between Alte and Bologna, where FB Mondial has its racing department. Finally, in 1952, the Mondial company, owned by the Boselli brothers, hires him as technical director at their historic facility at Via Milazzo 32. Here, Taglioni replaces Alfonso Drusiani, who wishes to step down and adapts to the company's projects. He redesigns the 125cc twin-cam Grand Prix Faenza type and refines the 175cc single overhead cam Bilancierino with exposed gears and springs. He also works on his own 125cc twin-cam engine and dreams of a three-cam desmodromic head, a project that unfortunately remains unrealized. The results are evident in endurance races, with Giuseppe Lattanzi, Remo Venturi and Gualtiero Vighi riding 125cc single overhead cam motorcycles. Mondial dominates every stage of the 1953 MotoGiro. In the same year's Milan-Taranto race, Giovanni Camilletti excels with the 125cc Competizione, and Tarquinio Provini shines on the 125cc Sport. The year 1954 marks further triumphs. Mondial conquers the MotoGiro with Provini leading the overall standings. Despite these successes and a subsequent press conference attended by Taglioni, he experiences a bitter moment. Excluded from the celebratory dinner, he feels insulted and decides to leave Mondial, confident that new opportunities await him. On May 1, 1954, Fabio Taglioni joined Ducati, a company in severe financial and organizational trouble. Director Montano welcomed him with these words: "We have money for just 1 month of salaries. If nothing changes, we'll shut down. We need a motorcycle to win the 1955 MotoGiro." Taglioni abandoned his initial idea of a 50cc single overhead cam engine with a supercharger and focused on a high-performance 98cc model, which he quickly designed. By September 1954, the Gran Sport was born, affectionately nicknamed Marianna, in honor of the Marian year. The motorcycle featured an engine with an overhead camshaft driven by bevel gears, a solution that would become iconic and remain in production until 1978. In 1955, the Gran Sport was also released with a 125cc engine, doubling its successes. In 1956, Maughi dominated the MotoGiro, winning not only the 125 Sport class, but also placing first overall. Gandossi and Degliantoni triumphed in the Milan-Taranto race. These victories confirmed the soundness of Taglioni's ideas and his tireless work ethic. He divided his time between the office, factory departments, and racetracks, observing the riders, managing the racing department, and personally testing the motorcycles. He worked with talented collaborators such as Giancarlo Bortolotti, Franco Fana, Oscar Folisani, Silvio Malaguti, Eugenio Marzi, Ruggero Mazza, Ettore Miani, and Mario Recchia. Taglioni's genius and dedication paved the way for a success story that would mark the history of Italian motorcycling. In February 1956, Fabio Taglioni completed a technical masterpiece, a 125 Grand Prix motorcycle derived from the Gran Sport but enhanced with a twin-cam head and a 5-speed gearbox. This small marvel produced 16 horsepower at 11,500 revolutions per minute, reaching a remarkable top speed of 170 kilometers per h. Finally, Taglioni could bring to life his ambitious desmodromic valve control projects, which he had envisioned since his university days. A desmodromic 3-cam head was fitted to the 125 engine, ready to debut on the world stage at Hedemora during the Swedish Grand Prix on July 15th. Here, Degliantoni claimed victory, followed by Ola Nigren, both riding identical motorcycles that left no room for competitors. That year, the grand finale took place in Monza, where Carini and Siccheri, aboard a 100cc streamlined motorcycle, broke 46 world records, valid not only for the 100cc class, but also for the 125cc, 175cc, and partially for the 250cc. Meanwhile, at the Milan Motorcycle Show, a 175 single overhead cam model debuted in Turismo, Sport, and Supersport versions, ready to conquer the US motocross market. These groundbreaking achievements accelerated Taglioni's career, and he was soon appointed to oversee Ducati's entire motorcycle production. The following years saw a crescendo of racing victories, with the lineup expanding to include models such as the 175 America, 175 Motocross, and 200 Motocross. Meanwhile, in Spain, the associated company Mototrans began to take shape. In 1958, Taglioni completely revamped the 175 twin-cylinder with spring-based valve control, and created a 125 Grand Prix motorcycle with a twin-cylinder desmodromic 3-cam engine. This new creation gained attention at the Monza Nations Grand Prix, where Villa secured third place, preceded by Spaggiari on a single-cylinder desmodromic bike. The victories of the Gran Sport and its derivatives were countless, thanks to top-tier Italian and international riders. Gandossi came close to a world title, but was denied glory by a crash at the Ulster Grand Prix, fortunately without physical consequences. Meanwhile, the Marianna models gave way to the new 125 and 175 Campionato Marche F3 bikes. One of the era's epic feats was the world tour completed by Tartarini and Monetti, who were welcomed as heroes upon their return to Bologna in 1959. The young and promising Mike Hailwood rode two 125cc twin-cylinder desmodromic bikes and a single-cylinder twin-cam desmodromic bike, achieving third place at the Tourist Trophy. Always seeking technical improvements, Taglioni developed Ken Kavanagh's 175 F1 to reach a top speed of 220 km/h, and created a 250cc bike derived from the 125 single overhead cam model for national F3 competitions. Meanwhile, the touring lineup was enriched with the elegant elite, however, even these successes could not stave off a general crisis that forced Ducati to withdraw from top-tier championships and shut down its racing department. In 1960, to satisfy prestigious clients like Hailwood and Kavanagh, 4 prototypes of 250cc and 350cc twin-cylinder 3-cam desmodromic bikes were produced. The 250cc model, tested in Modena by Farn, enabled Hailwood to claim 15 victories and set the fastest lap at Silverstone. To boost sales, Ducati expanded its road bike range with narrow case models and began producing diesel engines. Taglioni, always seeking new challenges, collaborated with Giorgio Monetti and the Maserati brothers to create an F1 engine, an 8-cylinder air-cooled desmodromic unit capable of producing over 170 horsepower on the test bench. Unfortunately, the project did not progress due to a lack of funding. Meanwhile, the engineer refined high-turbulence combustion chamber engines and, in 1964, launched the 250 Mach 1, destined to shine even in the world of automotive racing. This engine was used in single-seater cars weighing only 250 kilograms, such as the 4K250 vehicles built by Bologna-based Techno. Among Taglioni's boldest visions was the dream of a multi-cylinder engine, inspired by the demands of American importer Joseph Berliner. Thus, the Apollo was born, a massive motorcycle equipped with a 1,257cc V4 engine, designed for US police forces. Despite negotiations with US authorities, the Apollo never progressed beyond the prototype stage, hampered more by political than technical reasons. Amid his relentless creative fervor, Taglioni developed a 500cc parallel twin prototype, unveiled at the Daytona show in March 1965, and a 125cc Grand Prix bike with a 4-cylinder inline engine. This latter machine, featuring twin overhead camshafts, an 8-speed gearbox and gear-driven valves, was tested at Modena by Farn and Spaggiari, but never reached competitive racing. Ducati continued to meet the needs of private customers, offering competitive models such as the 250 Mach 1S, the 250 and 350 SC, and the 350 Sebring, the latter inspired by Farn's victory in the United States. It was an era where genius and passion still drove the wheels of history. In its effort to diversify, Ducati tasked Taglioni with designing a two-stroke engine with a rotary valve for outboard boat engines. Although not enthusiastic, famously referring to two-stroke engines as a pump, Taglioni accepted the assignment, remaining loyal to Ducati, which had always guaranteed him freedom of judgment and action. This was an opportunity he likely would not have had if he had accepted lucrative offers from Piaggio or Ford. In 1967, the series of wide-case single-cylinder engines was launched, featuring 5-speed gearboxes. Notable models included the 250 and 350 SCD Sport Corsa Desmo and the 250 and 350 Scrambler, derived from their narrow-case counterparts. Despite the introduction of a 700cc parallel twin engine in pushrod, single overhead cam and twin overhead cam versions, the model failed to attract interest from the police or carabinieri. Meanwhile, the Temperata Romagnola thrilled audiences with the feats of riders like Roberto Gallina, Gilberto Parlotti and Bruno Spaggiari. In 1970, Ducati's involvement in racing continued to shine, thanks in part to new management appointed by EFIM, which recognized the promotional importance of competitions and decided to officially return to racing. Taglioni focused on the proven Mark III and Mark III Desmo models, introducing the 450 RT road and track. However, with an eye on the Grand Prix formula dominated by MV Agusta with Agostini and Bergamonti, he prepared something revolutionary, a 90-degree V-twin engine. This angle, deemed optimal by the engineer, ensured balance of primary inertial forces, effective air cooling, and adequate space for carburetors and electrical components. After months of uninterrupted work in 1971, a motorcycle equipped with a single overhead cam engine featuring 2 or 4 valves, bevel gear-driven distribution, electronic ignition, and a 6-speed gearbox was unveiled. Renato Armaroli developed a variant with a toothed belt, replacing the bevel gears. The 500cc twin-cylinder debuted in Modena on March 25, 1971, ridden by Spaggiari, and continued its career with Ermanno Giuliano, Parlotti and Phil Reed, performing well despite occasional ignition issues. It remained in use until 1973, evolving with twin overhead cam heads and toothed belts. At the 1971 London Motorcycle Show, Ducati presented the 750 GT, a 90-degree V-twin with single overhead cam bevel gear heads, 2 valves per cylinder, 2 carburetors, and a 5-speed gearbox. With 60 horsepower and a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour, the bike garnered great enthusiasm, confirmed during the 1972 season. On April 2, 1972, a 750 equipped with a desmodromic head triumphed at the Imola 200, the European Daytona, with Paul Smart finishing first and Spaggiari second. After traveling to the United States to study racing formulas, Taglioni quickly developed the 750 S Sport, followed in 1973 by the SS Supersport Desmo single overhead cam and the 860 GT. However, the oil crisis depressed sales. To counter the downturn, Ducati introduced the 350 Condor, a single-cylinder bevel gear-driven bike for the Swiss Army, and a parallel twin chain-driven engine designed by engineers Milvio and Tumide. Although neither approved nor supported by Taglioni, the project materialized in 1974 as the 350 and 500 GTL, which achieved little commercial success. In contrast, Taglioni's genius shone in models like the 860 GT, GTE, GTS, and 900 GTS designed by Ital-designed Giugiaro, along with the 750 and 900 Supersport. The controversial 350 and 500 GTL twins, styled by Tartarini, featured a balancing shaft, later removed after criticism from Taglioni. However, he agreed to develop a Desmo head for the 500 Sport version. In 1976, Fabio Taglioni, assisted by Gianluigi Mengoli and Renzo Neri, embarked on a bold technical endeavor, replacing the bevel gear shaft with a more economical and quieter toothed belt. This brilliant innovation would, within a few years, change Ducati's history. By 1977, the revolutionary belt-driven distribution system equipped the 900 Pantar, an L-twin that, when stripped of one cylinder, quickly gave rise to the smaller 390 Utah and Roller. Meanwhile, the 900 SD Sport Desmo came to life, and Ducati made one last attempt to salvage the parallel twins with the 500 and 900 GTV, though these lacked the prestigious Desmo head. In racing, Ducati found new vigor with the newly created Formula TT World Championship, F1, F2, F3, a competition requiring motorcycles derived from production series with at least 1,000 units, allowing partial modifications. Taglioni, tireless as ever, transformed the 900 SD into the 900 SSD, Supersport Desmo and supervised the NCR, Nepoti Karaki Racing Workshop, which prepared a 900 special for the legendary Mike Hailwood. On June 3, 1978, the British ace made history by winning the Tourist Trophy F1 at the Isle of Man and a week later at Mallory Park. The echoes of these successes revitalized Ducati, leading to the launch of the 500 Panta SL, a Desmo single overhead cam belt-driven twin. Like many other works, it bore Taglioni's signature. Beyond his mechanical genius, Taglioni nurtured passions that extended to painting and botany. At his home on Via Giordani 10, he had set up a modern greenhouse for his collection of orchids and succulents, contributing in 1978 to the foundation of AERAO, Emilia Romagna Association of Orchid Enthusiasts. In 1979, the 900 Mike Hailwood replica debuted to great acclaim. Meanwhile, Taglioni explored new frontiers, experimenting with German KKK and American Rajay turbochargers on the Panta. These innovations led to the 600 Panta SL, which, prepared by Farney, won the 1980 Italian Junior Championship in the TT2 category. The following years solidified Ducati's dominance in the racing world. Tony Rutter, riding the 600 TT2, won the Tourist Trophy and the TT-F2 World Championship, marking a new era for Borgo Panigale. Production also evolved from the 600 TT2 to the 750 TT1 and the 350 XL. The Panta's evolution gave rise to the 600 SL, but Taglioni's dream remained the 1000 Bipanta, a four-cylinder, oil and water-cooled engine. However, Ducati's fate was influenced by the decisions of Finmeccanica management, which prioritized diesel engines, relegating racing to a secondary role. Nevertheless, in 1984, Ducati celebrated the TT2 World Championship title, while innovations were scarce. Apart from the glorious bevel gear-driven series culminating in the Mille MHR and Mille S2. In 1985, the Castiglioni brothers acquired Ducati from IRI, retaining the brand and initiating a new phase. Fabio Taglioni, now retired, handed technical leadership to Massimo Bordi, supported by Mengoli, but he did not abandon Ducati. He continued visiting the factory, offering advice and overseeing projects. Among the last creations born from the collaboration of Bordi, Mengoli and Taglioni were the 750 F1 and 750 Desmo, which further cemented the company's reputation. The 1980s closed with the introduction of the 851, which adopted a four-valve twin overhead cam design instead of the two valves Taglioni preferred. Acknowledging the new project's superiority, he witnessed Ducati's victory in 1988 at Donington Park and Zeltweg, with Marco Lucchinelli in the inaugural Superbike Championship. This engine would define Ducati's future, giving rise to a new generation of models, the 888, 916, and eventually the 748. The 1990s marked Ducati's peak. The aging engineer, though ill and distanced from the workshops, still followed the company's progress. Despite his struggles with respiratory issues, his spirit remained tied to Borgo Panigale. Fabio Taglioni passed away on July 18, 2001, leaving an indelible legacy. Today, every new Ducati carries the echo of his genius. Blazingly fast, immensely powerful and extraordinary, each motorcycle tells a story rooted in the vision of a man who turned dreams into reality. Without Taglioni, that dream would have remained suspended in the wind. We stop here, but the road of legends continues. The wheels keep spinning and the stories endure. Each person recounts a journey and unveils an era.
Il vecchio ingegnere, pur malato e ormai lontano dai laboratori, seguiva ancora i progressi della casa. Nonostante le difficoltà respiratorie che lo tormentavano, il suo spirito rimaneva legato a Borgo Panigale. Fabio Taglioni si spegneva il 18 luglio 2001, lasciando un'eredità incancellabile. Oggi, ogni nuova Ducati porta con sé l'eco del suo genio. Velocissima, potentissima, straordinaria, ogni moto racconta una storia che affonda le sue radici nella visione di un uomo che ha trasformato il sogno in realtà. Se non ci fosse stato Taglioni, quel sogno sarebbe rimasto sospeso nel vento. Noi ci fermiamo qui, ma la strada delle leggende continua e le ruote girano, le storie restano. Ogni persona racconta un percorso e svela un'epoca. Alla prossima tappa, sempre su due ruote e con un pezzo di storia da raccontare.